episode 35 of Can We Make Impact Wrestling the best promotion in Total Extreme Wrestling 2013? My name is the Mayor Jason Smith. Today we have week number 4 of January 2020 with Impact TV. We're also going to be continuing the history of Impact pay-per-views through the years. We will talk about Against All Odds 2007, and should be a good one we're in store for today. Got lots of alerts that I am live streaming. Duh, I know that. Alright, so we will see the TNA pay-per-view, I don't know if you want to call it return, premiere, debut, whatever, of Christy Hemme. We will also see Big Fat Oily Guy, which, for those of you who are familiar with the indies, Big Fat Oily Guy was Tony the Timekeeper from the Nashville territories. You'll also see the pay-per-view debut of David Eckstein, AJ Pierzynski. Oh, let's see, who else debuts? Jacqueline Moore, Jackie, returns to TNA in her pay-per-view re-debut in this one as well. And looking ahead for us, we have a little ways before our next pay-per-view, Against All Odds, in the February 2020 pay-per-view coming up soon. Our roster, if you remember, we kind of trimmed the fat a little bit. We're down to 47, still a little over the ideal point for us, but we're getting closer to that. Medically, our champion, Alex Shelley, out a year and 2 weeks with that knee injury. If you remember, he vacated the Impact Grand Championship, which means we'll have another Impact Grand Championship tournament to crown a new Grand Champion here coming up very soon. Also, we had a couple of titles retained. Kairi Sane, of course, with her 11th successful defense. She won the title back in September, and she has just been unbeaten ever since. Literally unbeaten. I haven't found anyone who had the ability to beat her yet. There you see Alex Shelley with his first Impact World Championship run. The Lucha Bros, 2-time champions, defended their title at the pay-per-view, and Marty Scurll with his 9th successful defense of the X Division Championship, hanging on to that title. And then, of course, the Grand Championship is vacated. So now we have to figure out what we're going to do with Alex Shelley. Because he's a little bit hampered by that injury. He can still go, but the matches kind of take a hit. And the question becomes, do we put him on the shelf for a year and have a big triumphant return for when he comes back? Or do we let him kind of power through and hope for the best and maybe try to avoid putting him in a main event situation? I just talked about this with the last handful of pay-per-views back in 2007 with TNA, the NWA World Heavyweight Championship not being the main event match. And it was because you had, the Kurt Angle versus Samoa Joes and all of that, and those storylines, which really, championship or not, should have been the main event. So there's no discounting it. I just don't like, you're supposed to have your heavyweight championship, your world championship, whatever you call it, on the highest possible pedestal. So it makes sense to have it as the main event. Occasionally, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Especially if, like you're an indie, like HOG is an indie, and let's say our championship match has, 2 guys who are grinding it out on the indie scene and are unbelievably talented, but then you've also got guys who put butts in seats, like the Dan Severns of the world, the Ken Shamrocks, guys like that, that
people are paying to come and see, and that's not to discount, you know, the other guys on the roster because they will make or break your roster, 100%. Um, and some of the guys who come into your promotion, uh, they probably don't take it as seriously as they should. But you know what? They're being booked and they're being paid to put on a show. But they also know a lot of times that they're the ones putting asses in seats. So it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. But we'll get a feel for it. We'll kind of see how Alex performs on TV away from the main event spotlight, and if he puts on decent matches, then I think it might be a pretty solid idea to turn him loose on the pay per view. So let's go ahead and get cooking here, and we'll get moving on this, and we'll start talking about Against All Odds 2007, where you had a dark match and then 9 matches on the card that were on the pay-per-view. The first was a tag team match between Serotonin, which was Frankie Kazarian and Johnny Devine, Maverick Matt at ringside, going up against Jay Lethal and Sanjay Dutt. Kazarian would pick up the win in the dark match. Up next was a Little Italy street fight between Team 3D and LAX. So the tag team championships not on the line in this one, with LAX being the champions. And LAX, Homicide and Hernandez would come out on top in this one and pick up the victory in that first match on the card. Next up was an X Division match between Senshi, Low-Ki, and Austin Aries. Senshi went up to the top rope, tried to hit Warrior's Way, missed it, but hit the chicken wing, and then got him to tap. Senshi got Austin Aries to tap. Afterwards, Austin Aries kind of threw the fit, started tossing chairs in the ring, cut a promo. Bob Backlund came out, put him in the chicken wing, and dragged him to the back. And then next on the card was kind of a dumb match. It really had a weird place too. Kind of a beer and bathroom break kind of match. It was a tuxedo match between Big Fat Oily Guy, Tony the Timekeeper, and Christy Hemme for some reason. And Christy Hemme would pick up the win in this one, about 2.5 minutes. And Big Fat Oily Guy was rocking the G-string. So there you go. We'll continue talking about that here in just a little bit. News coming up here. Martin Kirby got a contract extension with PCW. Deonna Purrazzo called up. Braun Strowman looks like he's going to get an extension. I don't think I'm going to pick him up. Adrian Jaoud, who I think is Babatunde? No, he's just going with his regular name. Main event was last night. And Super Crazy looks like he's going to be a free agent. We've got nothing going on, so we'll advance to the next day and continue our conversation about Against All Odds. Next up on the card, a singles match with Lance Hoyt taking on Dale Torborg, who, of course, is the son of Major Leaguer former manager Jeff Torborg. So, of course, we had to get the baseball players involved in this one. AJ Pierzynski came out. David Eckstein was at ringside as well. David Eckstein, who is all of about 5'2" and maybe 150 on a good day, hit Torborg with a chair, and that allowed Lance Hoyt to get the win. And I joke because, I'm short and I can do that, but David Eckstein really wasn't. I think he was like 5'8" or 5'9", something like that, but yeah. I digress. Anyway, next up was a Motor City chain match. There's a chain and a pole in 2 corners, one with a key and one with a nightstick. Styles it was a battle, a strap match, chain match, whatever you want to call it. And so Rhino attempted to gore AJ through a table. AJ and then Rhino went through the table, and that allowed AJ to pick up the win. Next up, the X Division Championship. Jerry Lynn continuing to make a splash since coming back from injury, taking on Chris Sabin. And Lynn, I don't remember if it was kayfabe or legit, but Jerry Lynn hurt his back after a spiral bomb from Chris Sabin, and then Jerry Lynn went for the pile driver, couldn't do it because of his back, and then Chris Sabin used the ropes for leverage to pick up the win and retain the X Division Championship. So there you go. Alright, let's see what's up here. R.I.P. Reina. Looks like they have closed their doors. That is too bad. I could have bought him out. Should have bought him out if I'd have known. Shakara had a show last night. Let's see. Keith Myatt out of PCW. Diabolico is retiring. And ratings issues for good old WWE. Alright, Impact tomorrow night. Let's go. Next up on the card, mixed tag match. James Storm, Jackie taking on Petey Williams and Gail Kim. You would see some intergender violence in this. James Storm would kick Gail Kim in the face, and then Jackie would pin Gail Kim for the win. Storm hit Petey Williams with a super kick, and then Jackie Moore hit him with a DDT, and then Chris Harris came back and saved Petey Williams for some crazy ass reason. Alright, unread emails waiting. Alright, cool, I like that. Call up from Matt Riddle. OVW had a show. Oh, that's probably why I got the email. Matt Jackson is looking to be a free agent. So, why don't we make an offer to him and complete the tag team? I think he'll be an excellent addition to the... No shit, he's your brother, you dink. Alright, alrighty, let's see here. Wait, yeah, Maddie's 34. Alright, and... Okay, so I think we're in good shape with that offer. Should put him pretty close to what his brother's making too, so hopefully that's enough. Alright, Impact Wrestling is tonight. 2 matches left on the card. We'll hit them as we're going through. Prison Yard match between Abyss and Sting. So inside the ring there was a cage, and to win the match, you had to put your opponent into the cage and then quote-unquote lock the door. James Mitchell would get involved, and Abyss was able to jump Sting from behind. After that, Abyss put Sting through a table. Sting was able to recover from that, put some barbed wire board on a table, and powerbombed Abyss off the cage into the barbed wire, and then Sting put Abyss into the cage for the win. And then last but not least, the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Kurt Angle, Christian Cage, Tomko at ringside, Samoa Joe was at ringside, Scott Steiner got involved in this one. Tomko would get ejected. Samoa Joe sort of was the outside quote-unquote enforcer. Scott Steiner came out and tried to jump Kurt Angle. Tomko came out and attacked Samoa Joe. Joe eventually dove from the ring onto Steiner and Tomko both, and then everybody just started fighting. The referee got knocked down, yada yada yada. Cage hit Angle with a pipe, and then the Unprettier pinned him, picked up the win. 20 minutes, bada boom, we're done here. And Christian Cage would retain his NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Alrighty, well, that does it for Against All Odds 2007. Alright, now let's get to our show because we've got Impact TV. We are at Alumni Stadium in Delaware. Yay. Hi, I'm in Delaware. For those of you watching in Delaware, I sincerely and humbly apologize. I've never been there. I hear Dover's nice. Okay. Anyway, let's move on. So we've got to find new opponents for all of our champions. We also have to find our tournament competitors. And as usual, we will do an 8-person tournament. Well, I crudely draw a bracket on my paper here. Alright, so, Impact Grand Championship. I have no earthly idea who I want involved in this. I don't know. Oh, let's see. So, it's an 8-person tournament. So I will do 2 main eventers, 2 upper mid-card guys, 2 mid-card guys, and then 1 lower mid-card guy, and 1 opener. And I think that kind of makes it fair, for the most part. Okay. Alright, so let's see here. Start with our main eventers. Impact Grand Championship. Let's do Bobby Fish and TJP. And we'll have TJP be the 1 seed. Bobby Fish be the 2 seed. And the upper mid-card guys, let's do Will Ospreay as the 3 seed and Jake Hager as the 4 seed. 5th seed will be Jay White. 6th seed will be Flip Gordon. And you know what? I kind of want to put Jay Lethal and Ricochet into this tournament too. Let's do it. Alright, Jay Lethal will be number 7 and Ricochet will be number 8. Okay, so there's our tournament. So, first round matchups. TJP against Ricochet. Jake Hager against Jay White. Will Ospreay versus Flip Gordon. And Bobby Fish versus Jay Lethal. Those are our 4 quarterfinal matchups. So let's get those booked and ready to rumble here. Ricochet, TJP. Scott D'Amore as the agent. Keep that in mind. Alright, next up is Jake Hager versus Jay White. Scott D'Amore is gonna road agent that one too. Next up is Will Ospreay
versus Flip Gordon. Lance Storm's going to handle the duties for this one. Oops. And then, last but not least, Bobby Fish and Jay Lethal. There we go. And Amy Dumas is gonna agent that one. Alright. So there's our tournament, taking up about half of our show. So now we'll do a couple return matches from the pay-per-view. We will do Alex Shelley versus Kofi. And we'll keep it short and sweet just because Alex is kind of beat up a little bit. Non-title match. We'll back it up. Okay, next up is the tag team titles, the Lucha Bros. And they didn't lose their title, so next let's give the Briscoes a shot. We'll see how this one works out for us. Whoops. There we go. I'll kind of break those up a little bit. Alright, Kairi Hojo needs an opponent. Kairi, what are we gonna do with you? Well, I guess we'll start with Arisa Nakajima. Let's see if she can beat her. Keep it open. Marty Scurll needs an opponent. I have just the guy. Since Bobby Fish is in the tournament. Adam Cole, Marty Scurll. That's going to be our main event. Right there. Non-title match. We'll see how it goes. I do want Christian to handle this one, though. Okay. We have 15 minutes left, and I'm pretty sure we have a whole bunch of guys that we need to squeeze in to this card. Nope, only 4. Okay. Well, I guess we're doing a Fatal 4-Way then. Eli Drake, Johnny Impact, Rich Swann, Sami Callihan. Oops. Never been done. Okay, we'll fill up the rest of our time. Alright, there we go. Okay, 125 minutes, 9 segments. Part of our tournament for the Impact Grand Championship is underway, and here we go. Alex Shelley's just not going to get it done here. He's going to have to vacate that title.
TJP and Ricochet was a great match. TJP picks up the win.
He'll move on to the semifinals. Jake Hager and Jay White was actually pretty good. Jake Hager got the win, though, and he'll move on. Kairi Hojo and Arisa Nakajima was okay, I guess. Wow, A rating for the Lucha Bros and the Briscoes. That is gonna make the pay-per-view. That was a Scott D'Amore agented matchup there. Get a B out of Eli Drake, Johnny Impact, Sammy Callahan, Rich Swann. So we'll keep an eye on that one as a possibility as well. Flip Gordon and Will Ospreay was an awesome matchup as well. Will Ospreay advances. Bobby Fish and Jay Lethal was a little underwhelming, but Bobby Fish comes out on top. And Adam Cole versus Marty Scurll was a fantastic match. So we get a B rating overall thanks to Marty Scurll and Adam Cole. I think we may have to main event Lucha Bros and the Briscoes at Against All Odds, though. So we'll go ahead and continue. So, on our next episode, we're going to talk about TNA Destination X 2007, and a lot of return matches from the previous pay-per-view. Also, you would see the TNA pay-per-view debut of the Heartbreakers, Antonio Thomas and Romeo Roselli. In WWE, they were known as the Heartthrobs. The Heartbreakers was kind of a jab at Shawn Michaels. So, yeah, there you go. But yeah, really, that's the only big pay-per-view debut, I guess, in this next one. But plenty of stuff to talk about for sure, including one match that kind of pissed off the crowd a little bit. We'll tell you which one it is in the next episode. In the meantime, we have to talk about ratings for our last show. Let's see, what do we got? Wesley Blake looks like he's going to get a push here. Dash Wilder, his contract is coming up. Naito's contract is coming up. And Jerry the King Lawler's contract is coming up. And it's time again for us to start renegotiating our deal, starting in February 2020. We have 4 episodes left on our TV networks. Pop has been really good to us. Fight Network and Spike have as well, and we've rewarded them with some really strong ratings lately. I kind of want to renew it, but I'd like to get eyes on my product in more homes. And so I'm not going to be able to do that. I think we've reached the peak with these 3 networks, so we may be looking elsewhere going forward. Tetsuya Naito, we might be too small for him. Oh, okay, cool. I'll take Naito for a year. pay him some cash money. Better offer from another company. Whoa! Holy cow, that is a good offer, and you can keep it. Matt Jackson's offer with AEW has been altered. 10,000, 730, 5 years, 10,000, or 10% per pay per view. I can go 5 years. I'll even go to 12 grand if you want. And I'll give you wage matching. What the hell? Why not? I've got his brother. I might as well bring Matt in and have one of the best tag teams in the world. Alright, ratings. 1.13 on the Fight Network. We are up on that. 1.42 on Spike. We're up there as well. And 3.23 on Pop. Up there as well. This is why, I think that 3.2, 3.3 mark is probably it for Pop. That's probably the apex of what they can do. So we're going to wrap it up there. Episode 36, we'll talk Destination X 2007. We'll have the continuation of our Impact Grand Championship Tournament, TJP and Jake Hager, and then Will Ospreay versus Bobby Fish in the semifinal rounds. We've also got 3 matches set for our February pay-per-view. We'll also, in the next episode, see whether we made a profit or we lost money in December, or in January. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys for watching, and my name is the Mayor, Jason Smith. We'll see you next time.